My hair looks like a hat. It doesn't look real right now. That was pretty good. Alright, how's it going, everybody? My name is Vashthalas, and it looks like Path of Exile 2 has some big news for all of us regarding the Third Edict. They're revealing all of it today. There were some leaks recently. I tried to stay away from them the best I could, but there were a couple of things that I found concerning. Like no druid! There's potentially not going to be any druid announcements this time around, but I don't know. You never can be too sure with these big reveals, so I'm crossing my fingers that my druid hype isn't all for naught. I'm still super excited. I'm also excited for Sword. Abby is as well. And I am also really excited to see if they're going to mention anything about daggers or Templar. Flails obviously would be going hand in hand with Templar, but with daggers, what I'm really excited for is stealth gameplay. I am really jonesing. I am desperate for some stealth gameplay in an ARPG. I want to bide my time, have big crits or something, one-shot things. I don't know. Make me really squishy. I don't care. I just want to feel like a rogue. I want to feel stealthy in an ARPG, and I don't feel like any game has been able to provide that quite yet. I think it would be really interesting. On top of all that, if you want my completely off-the-rails idea, I'm waiting for an ARPG to include a wrestling archetype. You know, like big WWE style throws, grappling, like a grappling class basically. I think that would be really cool and unique. Haven't seen any ARPG ever do it. I think it's a complete shot in the dark. I don't have any hopes that it will actually happen, but I always talk about it in hopes that you know, maybe a company will steal my idea and implement it. Here's to hoping. We've got 7 minutes left. Alright. This is it. This is for all the marbles. Who will win the ARPG wars? Will it be in the left corner? Last Epoch! In the other left corner, Titan's Quest 2! In the third left corner, that one game from Moonbeast Studios. The fourth left corner, none other than Diablo 4. The fifth left corner. What is that one where it was like a girl with a really big bosom on the front page of Steam for a while? I can't remember it. But she was like a fox girl. And in the right corner is Path of Exile.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games.
Hi, John.
And welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration rare finisher effect by following the instructions below. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
I'm ready. I'm ready!
I have called you here to save our people.
Everyone was right.
Save our way.
Trial of the Ancestors, right? Let me turn it up a little bit.
Pain like no other. But we endured, and we became mighty. Now, outsiders dishonor our shores.
Boat League!
By doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors! Show us your strength! Show us the true way! I understand.
Melee. Spears. Crossbows. I think that was a staff skill. New boss fights. New zones. Is that a flamethrower? No, that was a sorcerer's skill. Oh, that is brutal. I love that boss design.
The true
The scenery is gorgeous. I really love the scenery. Act 4, my man! Let's go! 35 new areas, 24 new bosses, support gym overhaul, skill rework, what does that mean? Lineage supports, what are those? In-game items, new notables, sprinting! Are we actually Diablo 2? We've got stamina now. Oh! It's Abyssal! I love green. Oh, and red to follow it right up after? Holy complimentary colors, Batman! Oh yeah. We're gonna be playing. I think I know what I'm gonna be playing. Oh yeah.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today. We'll start by going over Act 4, the next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline. But
Okay.
that's not all. There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to endgame, which means we're removing Cruel Difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support
All
system,
classes
added new skills,
buffed?
and yes, there are buffs. Next, we'll go over the Rise of the Abyssal,
Oh!
this season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds. After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting, and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one. We'll then go over our new supporter packs and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat.
Can't wait for the
And
interview.
after that, at 4 p.m. Pacific, hatch notes. They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on.
And we're gonna be reading through those patch notes.
We've got a lot to cover today, but first, another announcement. When the Third Edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2. That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key.
Very
The
cool.
free weekend will end on September the 1st.
Very,
so you
very
have plenty
cool.
of time to give the game a try. All right.
I'm excited
Let's
for
get
everyone
started
who
with
hasn't
Act
been able
4.
to give the game a try yet.
The story continues from the end of Act 3. Doryani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption, the instrument of the Third Edict. The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes. You will need to journey to Kingsmarch, hire a ship, and set sail.
It is a
On the
boat league!
map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like.
It is a boat
Act
league!
4 is completely non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose.
Ooh.
Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island? The Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all who travel there. Perhaps it's related to the weapon you
That looks
seek.
really cool. I like that.
Or maybe you will visit the volcanic shores
Excuse
of the
me.
Isle of Kin.
Rate the burp. It was kind of weak.
The Kin have been more restless recently, mining for sulfite and driven by some dark force. Perhaps you will choose to consult with one of the local
Yeah, that boss,
Karui
he
tribes.
looks really cool.
Their ancient wisdom could hold clues to finding the Third Edict.
Very brutal.
No matter where you choose to go, you will fight dangerous beasts. Find
Lots of
fabulous
animal
treasures,
monsters. That's always cool. Creature creation.
and battle incredible bosses.
A challenger!
Monkey King.
Yama sees your soul!
There are 8 islands
Ooh.
to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna. Act 4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new areas, 12 new bosses, and plenty of other interesting encounters. There's a huge
Ooh.
amount to show, but we're
A
not gonna spoil
mermaid.
too much here. We want to give you a chance to discover it all for yourself.
So lots of new unique
What happens after
islands,
Act
I think
4?
is what they're called.
Well, until now you had to repeat the entire campaign again before you could face the endgame. But after adding Act 4, the game is far too long to make you do that. We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're calling them the Interludes. The Interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released. It will
Interesting.
take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin.
I love that.
The first
Oh,
interlude
I wonder if
sends you on
those
a
are gonna
journey back to
stay.
Ogham.
Is it? It's got
Renly
to,
has
right?
been
Like
leading
they
the
wouldn't
efforts
have done
to
the
rebuild
work for
Ogham Village
nothing.
after the defeat of Count Geonor. But there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You'll discover new areas. And new bosses.
I do love new bosses,
You'll need to find your way through the
especially in
darkness,
Path of Exile 2.
uncover the source of corruption,
Soon you will serve our master.
and defeat it.
Yes, I shall dance with their corpse.
And that's just the first interlude. The second interlude will have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty. When the skies align, the gifting of water
Floor drop.
requires a chosen Sekima to meet with the Selkari, guardians of the sacred water, but they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari. Find
They're
those
really showing
responsible
off
for
that
disrupting the
spiral
gifting.
effect. They're really showing
Fight
it off.
even more new bosses. Discover the secrets of the ancient ritual. Discover new locations. And ultimately help Asala carry out her sacred duty. Now for Interlude 3. As Royal Thaumaturge of the Vaal, Doyani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan involved sealing a group of willing Vaal deep in a great mountain vault near the home of the Asmeri, deep enough to survive the cataclysm. Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and may be key to defeating the beast. The journey up the mountain will be dangerous. New foes stand in your way,
Ooh.
and the further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will
I'm
become.
getting big like Act 5 vibes from Diablo 2.
Explore caves of ice.
The big gateway
Into
to
the
like
vault
the
itself.
mountain
Who can say what you will find within?
climbing motif.
The interludes are 6 to 7 areas each,
The
and generally
snowy
include 4
atmosphere.
boss fights as well. When you put
It's
that
just giving
together
me
with Act
huge
4, that
Area
adds up to
Summit
35
vibes.
new areas in the campaign and 24 new bosses. It's worth making clear that the interludes are temporary. When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away.
Okay,
These
so
are
they
side
will be
stories
going
after
away.
all. But don't worry, the bosses and areas that make up the interlude are all part of the endgame.
Very
We're
cool.
not just going to throw them away. And with that, we don't need cruel difficulty anymore.
That's a
We
unique
do
bit
know
of
that it was a
FOMO,
pretty
I
big chore
guess.
to
It's
have to
like
play
if
through
you
the
want to
campaign
experience
multiple
these
times in each
small
character.
stories,
And this was a huge
that
reason
aren't
that the
permanent,
campaign could feel like a bit
come
of a
and check 'em
slog
out
when
now.
playing through again. But we do also
I-
have another new
I
feature
can't really
to
be
address
mad
that
at that. I kind
particular
of like
concern as
that,
well.
especially because it's all still.
So let's talk about
work in progress.
sprinting. In 030, when you hold down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll. This is available on all character classes, and there's no limitation on how long you can sprint for. The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground. The best idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage
Ah.
with no danger.
I'm so
If you
excited
do
to give
need
this a
run
try
away
and
from
see how it
monsters,
feels.
just
I think
hold
it's
spacebar.
really, really going to
You won't
change
be vulnerable
everything.
during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster in the game, allowing you to retreat from combat.
Oh, yes.
Sprint is a pretty significant change to POE2's gameplay. What I like most about it is that we can accelerate the pace of the game for those who want that, without having to compromise on POE2's more visceral combat systems. Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign.
Okay.
But there's a whole giant league to play through as well. I'll leave that to Mark to talk about later. And that's because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for your characters. And probably one of the biggest new systems here is with the support gems. Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build. They're what enables so many interesting
So
mechanics and different
restrictive.
ways to play. But POE2's support gem system has just never been quite right. One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character. We didn't want builds to just become using the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill. The problem with this design, though, is that it's actually working against using multiple skills in your build. If you can only use each support gem on one skill, It means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability.
Yep.
And we want to encourage you to combo your abilities, something needed to change.
Yep.
So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character.
Let's
you can now
go.
use as many copies as you like.
Say it louder, man. This
should
is when you want
drastically
to
increase the amount of possible builds
beat your chest
and
while
increase
you
the amount of
fucking
skill
sing it.
diversity.
Right? Like, pound it out, man.
There are a lot of potential
This
builds
is a
that suffer from the previous
huge
restriction.
change.
For example, a poison build
Huge.
previously couldn't add poison to more than one skill. They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either. This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the specifically designed poison archetype. But now you
It had to
can.
happen.
Many utility skills
It had to
previously couldn't
happen.
scale to in-game
It was too
because the
great of a
supports that would make
restriction.
them scale
If you
were more
actually
useful to use in
played,
other
you
skills.
know.
You would never speed up killing Palm with martial tempo.
You know.
When you would much rather use
Like,
it on
it
your primary
would
skill
make you
instead.
make some interesting
There are more
decisions
examples like this
sometimes,
all over
but
the place.
eventually it became obvious that those decisions were
In
mandatory.
addition to that, though, we thought there wasn't enough feeling of progression in the supports as you went
So
through the
I
game.
love this.
There were only 3 tiers of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at Tier 1. Also, there were no strict upgrades, meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking. In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game. For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At Tier 2, the penalty gets lowered to 20%. But then at Tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now reloads
Ooh.
automatically when you heavy stun an enemy.
Ooh!
In some cases, the highest tiers might work a
Okay.
little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15, then 20% increased cast speed. But then at Tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells. So that's pretty good
Loving
for
it.
upgrades through the campaign. But we wanted
I'm
to add
loving
a little
it.
spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system,
Support gems
lineage
definitely felt
supports,
stale
comes in.
before. This definitely
You can
spices
think of
them
these
up.
like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll,
How do you
as
get
well
these?
as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses.
Ah.
And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too. Some of them are fairly rare, others fairly common. Some of them are build defining, others are just straight up power upgrades.
The totem one seemed interesting.
All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame. So there's a lot
This
of
is
power
like
to find out
threshold
there.
jewels are back.
Now, the new support gems are
But they're
certainly
support
gonna open
gems.
up a lot of builds. But of course, we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well.
I don't know, I just find it
skills,
so
we have a
interesting
big
that there's
focus on buffing
unique
existing
support gems
skills
now.
so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here, so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick fire through some of the coolest changes. We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold
I
tools.
love that ice skill.
As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground. These fragments explode after a short time, making the skill better for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies. And a new buff skill called Ice Tip Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments.
Interesting.
This already gives Claire to rangers wanting to use
Ice build.
But to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment, giving you a nuke-like ability.
Oh. I
We've
love
also
it.
modified Snipe to consume frozen from enemies, dealing a huge amount more damage.
Frost Maiden
giving you a nice
League?
ice single target option. And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game. Since it's a lot harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it.
Very
Another thing
cool.
you'll see throughout the game is making movement
Very,
feel
very
big.
cool. I definitely played around with
Toxic
the
growth
freezing
of the skill
salvo
was pretty cool,
last
but
season a
bit
couple of
annoying to
times,
use
and
with
I
the jump
wanted to
attack.
make a build around it. It just didn't feel quite
Now
right.
Toxic Growth is a range skill, so you
I
can
hope this
spam it
pushes
more
it
easily.
over into the viable.
And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain.
Yeah, I hope it makes it
creates a
viable.
small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to monsters.
Poison builds,
Another
I
skill
sleep.
that was annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to use. but it also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has area of effect, making it a tool for more than just single target, and allowing it to scale into the endgame. We also added a new spirit reservation called Mirage Archer.
Oh!
This is a meta skill that allows you to create shadowy clones of yourself.
Very
to
cool.
Use a skill of your choice.
Very cool!
Of course, one of the other big problems the Ranger had was survivability. Evasion was the weakest of the 3 defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion carry,
We might have to play that Mirage
a
Archer.
new mechanic called Deflect. Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage. Items can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion.
Evasion just got better.
And there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too. Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this is an upgrade for regular hits too. And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough. Of course, this is a buff that helps all Dex characters, so the Mercenary and the Monk, but especially the Huntress, are seeing big defense boosts from this as well. Speaking of defensive mechanics, let's talk about block and parry. Now, one of the big concerns on the release of the Huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use.
Good. Good.
This makes parry much more reliable. And not only that, but to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities. This is a massive buff to passive block as well. So to counter that, we did have to lower the max passive block a bit, but overall you should feel much safer. Fire skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard, so we decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fissure now branches into multiple fissures, giving it much more clearing potential.
Cool. I feel like it looks significantly
We've
different
also added a
too.
new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that
Oh!
slam at a distance. You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like.
Oh my goodness, I've got to play that!
Using a Warcry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch of volcanic fissures around. Volcanic fissures re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss.
Oh!
We also buffed Perfect Strike to have much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast. to
Melee enjoyers log in! You're Thor, but fire!
The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well. And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kaum's favor. After you do, use it to channel Kaum's ancestral power. Every attack will be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures, and molten balls will erupt from your attacks.
Holy cow, that is a lot of damage.
Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve. Now that we've got Sprint, we actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. It now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it. Shield wall got significantly upgraded AoE.
That was a big shield wall
Also, you can
compared to what
shield
we got
charge
before.
right through it to trigger all the walls.
That looks really cool.
We also added a new shield Warcry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills.
We
And
might be
Magma Barrier
playing
now doesn't
Marauder
require
again.
timing in order to use. Just wait for your shield to charge up and block.
The Mirage Archer and this looks really, really good.
Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed for stun. And we changed the Sunder interaction with Armor Break. It now also gives a Sundered Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage. Great for bosses. Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal. So we've changed this totem to require 3 endurance charges to summon, and massively buffed its damage. It also now scales with
Interesting.
weapon damage too. Since there's no limit anymore, if you build around generating endurance charges, you can summon an
I like
entire
that they're
forest
thinking
with
of it
totems.
as an ultimate, or thinking of some skills as an ultimate.
In order to make that easier, we added some
Definitely
new
talked
sources
about
of
it in
endurance
that
charges.
term before.
There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges, and a support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well.
Cool.
Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways.
Cool.
Use it with your limitless ancestral warrior forest to make an army of Karui that would make Tukahama proud. We've also merged the Great Wolf Howl and Warcaller's Bellow support, so that you can get all the benefits with one.
Yes! Yes!
And
Oh my gosh, man, I didn't want to spend 4 passive points getting a node that I could have gotten as the first node. Very nice.
Next
I
up,
love
let's
it.
talk about accuracy.
Very, very nice.
Accuracy was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in close combat. But unfortunately, that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with. So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy. Warriors shouldn't require any accuracy investment in order to hit with close range attacks now.
Nice. Nice!
We also wanted to improve.
Oh my gosh, I want to clap.
One of the major weaknesses of
I want to
is the
clap after
inability
that.
to
That's really
defend against
nice.
Elemental damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage. It's now available on items and an on the passive tree.
Holy cow, it affects elemental damage now. Armor is lit!
Declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows. You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty. But not only that, all skills that can be used while moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time. This change benefits everyone, not just crossbow skills. With both of these changes put together, the run and gun playstyle feels much better. It's hard to explain how important this change is for the feel of the class. The Mercenary is also a good chance to talk about how we're rebalancing to make comboing skills much better. Take Shock, for example. It buffs damage and lasts 4 seconds right now, but that isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If you're going to add a lightning skill into a build that otherwise wouldn't use one, we need to make mechanics like this much better. So we've increased shock duration on monsters to last 8 seconds. And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be good at shocking enemies, now increase the damage bonus by a lot more.
That was a big chunk.
You'll find changes like this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage. Freezing skills are better at freezing. Burning skills need to cause burns that last longer. But making skills like Permafrost Bolts and Incendiary Shot double down on how they're supposed to be used, it makes using them in your build alongside other skills much more likely. We're also making sure to buff specific combos too. The freeze explosions from frag rounds now chain to nearby enemies. And using high velocity rounds with armor break will now fragment the opponent's armor. This causes monsters to take a portion of high velocity rounds damage with every subsequent hit, even tiny pellets. So that means following it with a shotgun blast is way more effective. Now there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now I'm just going to talk about the new one we added, the Mortar Cannon. This one lets you socket any grenade skill, and using it will summon a cannon which loads and then fires the grenade you choose.
That's pretty cool.
Another issue on the Mercenary were banners. They were just not very good, so we're doing a big upgrade to them. They now last longer, don't disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic. They now just give a much more consistent and stronger buff.
Cool.
And you can use them when you get enough glory.
Cool, cool.
On which one of the
Valor
main
mechanic
focuses
definitely
was
was
making various
not
minion types more
very
useful to use
engaging.
together. Melee minions in particular were just not that great compared to ranged ones. As a starting point, we just straight up removed the requirement for minions to have accuracy. Attack minions now always hit, which makes them way better. Brutes got some good numeric buffs, but we also added a new command skill where they do a war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you in a big cold explosion. We've also changed the Frost Mage's
a bunch of minion
skill to
buffs.
an ability that adds ice armor
Very
to
nice.
other minions, adding a layer
Hopefully
of
they
defense.
don't get stuck
And it makes them
at
deal cold
doorways
damage back to
anymore.
the attacker as well.
Excuse me.
The ice armor also makes the minion encounters frozen, so the Brute's Warcry can detonate them too. Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights. And they also got a new jump ability, allowing them to get into combat faster. Ray's Spectre was also feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have. To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a large range of monsters, and have significantly increased Spectre damage too. They should feel a lot more impactful.
Those projectiles go for a long way.
There's also a lot of new spellcaster weapons with newer cult skills. But I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool. The Reaping Staff is actually a wicked scythe that gives you a new ability called Reap. When an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly, healing you.
We might have to try that.
Weakness on enemies too. Now, there's a lot of balance.
We might have to
changes
try
in the
a scythe
CC
build.
classes, but I'll just talk about 2 of them for now. On the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sanguimancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we've made Sanguimancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately. On the Infernalist, the Demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now. On the Monk, the wind skills needed a big upgrade for sure.
I never played the demon form,
Staggering
so I don't
Palm
know
can
if that's a
stack
big
up its
buff.
duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row, so you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily. Wind Blast had the purpose of building up to dazing an enemy, but dazing just wasn't worth all that effort. Now it just dazes on hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily.
Very cool.
Following up with Vaulting Impact on a dazed enemy previously did a bunch of stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will do way more damage. A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in POE1 was hand-to-hand combat, but until now we just didn't have a real way to make it viable. Well, that changes now. The Monk, as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the Hollow Palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed. All quarterstaff attacks now have a special unarmed version, and you get further bonuses to all your attacks from stacking Energy Shield and Evasion.
Very cool. Very cool. Unarmed build. Let's go.
A new keystone we also added to the Monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes Mana Leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the Monk has, but it works well for the Ranger too. Now, one of the least used Ascendancy classes in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula, so we knew we needed to make some changes here. One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill, allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze, embracing the elemental prowess of the Monk in a truly chaotic fashion. In addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills. He also gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're killed, they do massive explosions of darkness.
Look at all those
dealing damage
orbs.
to everything in sight. Now let's talk about Sorceress skills. One of the things we wanted to improve on the Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively. Now, this might seem small, but one of the things pushing you towards using a single element is debuffs like Elemental Curses, which lower resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we're making quite a lot of game-wide changes to these kinds of mechanics to broaden what they apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time. And things like Frost Bomb, which gave you cold exposure, now give elemental exposure. You can use it to buff any of your other skills.
Ooh.
We also wanted to make switching between different
I
weapon
love
sets
ease of
smoother,
access,
so you can
dude.
use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time, and now happens instantly. This applies game-wide too. Now, we didn't just want to stop there. We wanted to add some specific mechanics that work between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frost bomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground. After picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work. Spark will create a nova of cold-infused projectiles. Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground.
I love it.
And we also added a new
I love
Nova
it!
skill that fires ice shards.
Yes!
Use it with cold infusion though, and the ice
Yes, I
shards
love
will
skill
explode.
transformations.
Orb of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning. Once you have one, you could cast a lightning flame wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage to all the projectiles that pass through it. Or power up Ember Fusillade with lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby enemies as each fireball hits. Or maybe go lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now a projectile, and by infusing it, you can go
Look at
full
that thing
Palpatine.
travel. Holy cow.
Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with Living Bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a giant fire meteor from the sky. Or use it with Firestorm, which transforms it from a small area into a much bigger one. Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time. Add an Ice infusion to rain down ice at the same time as the fire.
Ooh.
And add lightning to add deadly strikes from the heavens into the mix. Or use it with all three to generate a storm that is truly apocalyptic.
They have been cooking.
Cold Snap
That
has been
looks
simply turned
beautiful.
into Snap. Previously, you could use it to shatter ice, but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments and makes them leave behind infusions. And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well, which means you can create many infusions at once. We also have a Spirit Reservation skill and a Support Gem to help generate them too.
Naturally.
On the passive tree, we've added quite a few new keystones to the Sorceress section. Here are a couple of examples. The Black Flame Covenant keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes your ignites to deal chaos damage.
Wow.
Your fire spells and ignites will also turn purple.
Oh!
The Ritual Cadence keystone causes your invocation skills to trigger more times, but makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one. Great for those auto-bomber builds. Now, in addition to skill changes, we've added a lot more options for the passive tree for each class. Overall, there are more than 100 new notables on the tree, usually around 20 per class, along with smaller clusters as well.
Passive tree definitely
Check out
needed
the
some
old
love.
version. And here's the new version. It's a
Whoa.
lot more dense, and there's more interesting nodes than before. Now, we probably can't go through
I
too
like the
many of
back
these
and
in the
forth.
live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area of the tree.
Yes, please.
We tried to be a lot more thematic with the new nodes. So for example, the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of Armor Break apply to your fire damage.
Ooh.
Or how about Last Stand, which gives you lots of stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate.
Oh!
A lot of these have themes aligning with the
Yeah,
Ascendancy
they've got
classes.
niches
Like for
or
the Gemling Legionnaire, for example.
specific
You
uses.
have
I'm loving it.
crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments, depending on which support gem color you have socketed the most.
Interesting.
Another Ascendancy class aligned notable is Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana, unlocking that support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy.
Hmm.
In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element.
Lots of
You
blood
become a
mage
lightning Archon when
changes.
you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to lightning, and you will do extra lightning damage as well. We have ones for cold and fire too, with different triggers. Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently, while also making crits generate more energy for triggers. Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold. Or the Cunning Fox. It straight up gives you 5% quality to all your gems.
That's pretty good.
Now, another major change is attribute
That's
requirements.
pretty damn good.
We felt like players probably had a few too many nodes and attributes, and not enough in interesting passives. So we lowered attribute requirements by 25% across the board.
Okay.
That means you'll have more points to spend on interesting notables rather than just needing to allocate more strength, dex, and int.
Good.
Now, there are way more changes than just
Good.
these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off. But I'd say that's just about enough for now. We're not even half done yet. So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the Abyssal. And to do that, I'd like to hand things over to Mark.
Thanks,
As you
John.
just saw, even though there are
Hi,
major
Mark.
changes to the campaign for this update, we want to make sure that every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when returning between expansions is fresh and filled with new content. And the way we did this was through leagues. Every expansion we make has a league, which not only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve into the details of what Path of Exile 2's first official league is bringing to the table.
Let's get into it.
The Abyssal are a race that have mastery of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought to be extinct, but have merely been biding their time underground. You first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there, ancient creatures
lurking beneath the surface.
As you proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the Abyssal underground. As you defeat the monsters, the fissure closes and Abyssal emerge, angered by you killing their food. Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more Abyssal
It's actually
pour
going to
out.
be so difficult
This
choosing
is
what to
where the
play this
larger
season.
and more dangerous monsters reveal themselves.
There are
As
so many
hordes
things
of
that look
Abyssal
interesting.
spew out from the pit to take your soul. If you kill a magic pack, then magic Abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having absorbed some or all of its modifiers for itself. This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as each modifier gives better rewards. If you are able to kill them all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed, it reveals a potential reward. Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot. Areas often contain many pits, with many fissures, and the amount goes up as you progress through the game, getting more intense. It doesn't stop there. When monster mods are absorbed, they have a chance to become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into abyssal modifiers. For example, you defeat this monster with the Mana Siphoner modifier. Their soul is eaten by the pit, and a rare monster emerges. The Mana Siphoner modifier has transformed into Soul Siphoner, and is now amplified in danger and reward.
No.
Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and
No.
mechanics. If you defeat a rogue exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn that has multiple Abyssal modifiers.
Uh-oh.
Lichborn exiles
they're all
even
Soul
have their own unique
Siphoner.
jewel they can drop, if you are lucky enough to
Or Soul
encounter
Eater.
and
There we
kill
go.
them. If an Abyss spawns near a boss, killing it will summon a gigantic Giga Larvae creature.
Whoa!
Monsters imprisoned in essences
Whoa!
near Abyssal pits are affected
That's pretty
by the
cool.
Abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items. So, that's your bread
What
and
a
butter of
thick
the Abyssal.
bug!
Kill surface-dwelling monsters, kill
back
the
is
emerging
killing me.
Abyssal, close the fissures, overcome pit encounters, and reap the rewards. There's a lot more to this league, however. As you complete abysses, you can find ancient pieces of bone, preserved from the remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits. You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you reveal it?
Ooh.
In Act 2 of the
Harbinger
campaign,
text.
you'll encounter a new area. This area is overrun by
Log
the
in.
Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through this area, you'll find the Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you.
Hercules?
So how do you reveal the mods on your Abyssal
Are we
infused
Hercules now?
items? Obviously, just throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers. Once you've chosen your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you.
Okay, so it's betrayal.
These modifiers can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers.
Interesting that
cannot
they
normally appear on
they
items.
wove it into Abyss.
During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful existing mods. But during the
Very,
endgame,
very nice
there is
bow.
a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items. Like this mod for crossbows that allows you to place
It
an
reminds me
additional
so much
ballista
of
totem.
the well scene from Hercules.
Or this one that
It
adds
has to have been
spirit your
inspired by
staff.
it in some way, shape, or form.
Or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills. And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones.
Ooh.
With a preserved vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights.
Gotta be able to craft the map.
Here are some examples of those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of.
What if my character can't handle any
With
mods?
this modifier, the natural inhabitants of the area
What
are
then?
all spawned near abysses. And there are up to 9 additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus. Or this one, which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter, be it either one underground or one that emerges out.
I can already feel my frame
There are
rate dropping.
dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting. That covers
I
the
can't
new
read all of
crafting
those that
mechanic.
fast.
So what's left?
Those are waystones,
Well,
okay, so I don't really
talked
care.
about how when closing pits you can get abyssal troves.
Not an
But
item, low W,
sometimes
not a
when
unique
closing
item,
an
low
abyss,
W.
You'll reveal an underground cavern that leads to the abyssal depths. After jumping into the depths, you'll find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead. When underground, every single rare abyssal enemy
Whoa,
will have an
is that
abyssal
Spark?
modifier. And at the
Spark
end
is
of the
going
dungeon, you'll
crazy.
even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier. Once you're able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find
Sorceress
some
looks
nice rewards.
crazy! That is
Aside
so
from the
much
entire
damage!
area being valuable due to the abyssal modifiers on the monsters, it has its own specific drops too. One example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like Kurgle's Leash. This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them, granting unholy might to you both.
Okay.
Another depth-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting.
Omens?
Additionally, we're adding some new socketables that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ulaman's Gaze, which can be socketed into your armor.
Ooh.
These are a bit special in that you can only have one equipped at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects. Think of them as almost a unique socketable for your
The helmet is crazy for Ulaman's Gaze.
In the endgame, where you can still find depths,
Lucky
you
after
also start
parry
to
is
find
kinda
a
eh.
different type of underground chamber.
Eh.
In these areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used by commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge Rayclast into a lightless void. Your goal is simple: kill this commander and destroy the spire. There are 4 bosses in the Abyss
Tanky.
League, and there are some pretty cool
Ooh,
uniques
is that
available
Darkness
from them.
Enthroned?
An example is this belt,
Yep.
Darkness Enthroned. It has 2 sockets. But hold on, socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables. This one, for example, counts as a helmet.
That is a
I
really,
kind of
really
want one
good
that
belt.
counts as a body armor. I wonder how rare that one is. You can also find this unique jewel.
That is a
Undying
really,
Hate.
really good belt.
This jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version, and has multiple depths.
Timeless Jewels!
The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected, allowing you to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the last thing that Abyssal commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random undead finger? Well, the next time you return to the Well of Souls, with the finger in your inventory, your character will almost feel compelled. To do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right? So, what's the worst
We're
that could happen?
Hercules!
Well,
We're jumping
just have to
in!
find that one
We
out
are
yourself.
Hercules!
Along with the introduction of Act 4 and the interlude, we will be adding 25 new in-game maps. These maps will contain all the new monsters and bosses we're adding, improving variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new boss fights many times. Let's take a look at some examples.
Okay.
Rock Pools is a map where you explore a shallow rocky coastline, surrounded by coral and filled with sirens. At the end is a giant Goblin King boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug.
I thought he
Holton is
ripped
an
off,
Ezomite
like, his
township
lip.
which has seen better days.
He's like eating something
Explore
really
and
quickly.
clear the township to find a gothic, reaper-like boss, with the ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with chaos.
I don't think we're gonna be playing Sorceress just
Given
because
some
of the
new
visual
bosses added
clutter.
are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final
Oh,
bosses of each
huge
interlude
hit.
part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them. These start appearing pretty fast into the endgame and will help bridge the gap until you do your pinnacle bosses.
Okay.
In the desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm. 3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause.
I hope that the thing we have to click
This
is like
presents itself
highlighted
in
on
the
our
form of a
mini-map or
boss,
something.
similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing the fabric of time itself with his powerful slashes. In the water biome, you'll encounter a giant maelstrom, where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal vault in the mountain biome. But how do we get inside? Running the adjacent maps to it will yield a key, which you can then use to gain access to this vault.
There's just tons of
Or you could just
unlock
trade
mechanics
for items.
now, a bunch of hidden content.
Use the key to dispel
Really
the
cool.
powerful force field
Kind of giving you
surrounding,
purpose to
leading
traverse
to
a
the
little
Vaal
bit.
Elite and their rewards inside. These all contain Uber versions of the Act 4 boss, and the bosses at the end of each part of the interlude. And each have their own exclusive drop pool of new lineage supports, which, as Jonathan spoke about earlier, are powerful support gems that modify your skills in pretty crazy ways. As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin Swordmaster mentioned earlier, we have Garo Khan's Resolve, which causes your critical strikes to fork, but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable. From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault, we have Paquate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life. Additionally, some maps can now spawn
Does that mean that
summoning
there
circles,
are
a room resembling an Ezomite
more
henge.
corrupted blood stacks now?
Activating this henge will spawn bosses. It's as simple as that.
I love corrupted
We'll
blood buffs.
also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work. As the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad, iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more. Like Path of Exile 1, each affix will now be both difficult and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of waystones dropped, and an additional specific upside attached to it. This means as you roll your map, they will continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better. For example, the Frostbitten mod, which causes enemies to deal cold damage, also increases the rarity of items dropped as its upside. Whereas the Of Venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on hit, has the upside of granting increased pack size.
I'm not smart enough to truly
Some
understand
maps will
the
end up having
differences
a lot
between
of
these
rarity,
and
some a lot of pack size.
I think
and
it's just
others will have
a
a mixture of everything.
quality of life change for like how you roll your
Due
maps,
to
in
now
all
having
honesty.
more modifiers granting difficulty, we will of course be reducing the difficulty per modifier to account for this. So, that's your Atlas, maps, and waystones, but what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points.
Itchy leg.
For example, in the case of Delirium, it's simple. You just need to find
That just looks like
and
so
kill
much
one of the
fire
bosses
damage.
in a map,
Holy cow.
Omniphobia or Kosis. The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content, but we're making some changes to accessibility here too. Currently, access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. This creates a negative feeling where at lower difficulties, instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty. To address this, each content will now drop splinters, which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the realm gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the splinters into the realm gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost. This means if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content much sooner into the endgame. Because these encounters now just require splinters, their corresponding atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of them, and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the atlas. The Arbiter of Ash works a bit differently. Instead of requiring splinters, he still needs crisis fragments. We now have only 2 difficulties of the Arbiter. The first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels. The second, Uber Arbiter, requires calamity fragments. These come from citadel bosses
Uber
also,
Arbiter.
but only once you've allocated the maximum number of points in your boss atlas tree, ensuring those citadels are at their highest difficulty level. Since we're talking about pinnacle content, we also felt that the leveling curve in the late game was a bit too steep. We've smoothed this out a bit so that it's easier to get to the mid-90s. We've also added some new in-game unique items. Let's take a look at a couple. Thunderfist is a pair of gloves that grants Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting the ability to call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit. Put simply, literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning.
Very cool.
Pair this with the aforementioned Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat. Another unique we're adding is
I love that.
Hinekura's Sight. Equip
love
this
that item.
amulet to be granted the power of the Mother of Death herself. This is reflected by granting you a skill called Foresight. While you have Foresight, your dodge roll no longer avoids hits. But instead, being hit while dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time. You'll notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage.
What?
This is you seeing that future, as if you hadn't been wearing the amulet.
What?
Ultimately, your in-game experience should be more streamlined, with new content to find.
That
You'll be able
sounds
to invest in your atlas tree sooner,
absolutely
engage with
broken
pinnacle
OP.
content faster, have less FOMO running said pinnacle content, reach higher levels easier, and do all of that while finding many
That
new
ring
chase
sounds
in-game items.
crazy.
Talking about finding items is one thing, but what about crafting them? We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements. Let's start with essences, which suffered from an issue where the regular essences were effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or excitement that a crafting system should provide. To alleviate these concerns, essences are being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get. We found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade your items. For example, this Lesser Essence of Flames, which will be able to add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons. Secondly, we're adding many more tiers. That Lesser Essence of Flames, for example,
More
has a
essences
regular
make the world
variant
go round.
and a greater variant too, adding even more fire damage with
More
each upgrade.
crafting ways is always appreciated.
The intention of this is so
Methods?
that when
There
you
we go.
find one early on, you don't worry about holding onto it till later to use on a higher level item. You should feel free to use them as they come to get powerful upgrades during the campaign. Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called Perfect Essences, will function like a Chaos Orb instead of a Regal. So it
I
will
love the
replace
naming.
one of the modifiers on
Perfect
your
is
rare
very
items
simple and
with the
intuitive.
specified mod.
Instead of like shrieking
Such
or
as this
deafening or,
Perfect Essence of
like
Flames.
POE1.
You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The perfect essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful. There are many different essences, each with many tiers, covering many of the more core modifiers you'd want to use early on, through to chase specialized
you.
ones for in-game. Speaking of in-game, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late in-game crafting projects. You might have noticed that at in-game, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop? but instead you got something a little more powerful? At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation and Perfect Orb of Transmutation. These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level. This is similar to how you find higher tier items on the ground, but for crafting. These higher tiers will also exist for
Interesting.
Orb of Augmentation,
I like that.
Regal Orb, Exalted Orb, and
Ah!
Chaos Orb, meaning you can get all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a fully completed rare with guaranteed high tier mods.
We'll see how it feels, but I like
On
it.
top of these
I
new
love
core
the
crafting
attempt and the
currencies,
concept
we
of
wanted
it.
to make
So
sure there are powerful crafting bases
can't wait to see
use
how
them.
crafting feels now with that.
Now in endgame, you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects. They
Exceptional
can come with
items.
extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in.
You obviously want the
And
quality if it's a
yes,
weapon.
They can be corrupted.
I mean,
features
even
in other
armor.
sockets.
You probably want the. Oh
You
wait!
can also get
You want
exceptionally
both!
unique items. To add even further to your crafting arsenal, we've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual content, and removed some of the more unimpactful ones that weren't being used. Some of the new omens include the Omen of the Ancients, which will cause your next Orb of Chance to not destroy the item, but generate a random unique of the same class.
Very
Or
cool.
the Omen of Sanctification, which is my new favorite. This will cause your next Divine Orb used on a rare item to reroll the values of its modifiers, allowing it to exceed the normal minimum and maximum values, raising
Oh.
the ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game.
Wow.
This omen will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted ones, so consider carefully when you use this. Another is the Omen of Chaotic Monsters, which will cause your
pretty cool.
next Chaos Orb to reroll all modifiers on a Waystone,
Like you have a god tier
allowing you
rare
to
item,
fix
it's
your
like
map
use a
to get some
sanctifying orb on it.
modifiers that are not feasible for your build. Besides these examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters. With the release of Act 4, notably taking place in the
Unicorn's
Cardari
Lock.
Archipelago,
It's
you'll
here.
be able to now find a new currency item, Henikora's Lock. Henikora, the Cardari goddess of death, has the power of foresight and is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items, and not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one.
We'll see how
Trade.
accessible Hinakora's locks
It's
are. Right?
finally here. The moment we've all been waiting for. Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each other in Path of Exile 1
What?
has morphed from using the forums, through to the in-game chat, all the way through to using the website.
Hold on.
These systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with
Hold
each
on.
iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves. Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either AFK or just can't be bothered.
He's been complaining about this because he's had to deal with it the last
In
couple
order to
weeks.
finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present. They can continue farming,
Oh!
killing monsters, AFK as they please, and can even be offline.
Oh!
With the introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter
Oh my gosh.
Ange, assistant to Rog in the Meridian Free Traders Company.
It's so good.
Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business. If you have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there.
Wow.
If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations.
Wow, that is so
Once
nice.
invited to your hideout,
I am
she will now serve as
actually
operating your currency
shocked
exchange,
that
but
we actually
also serve as the
we
figurehead
have the
in your
trading
new
we've
trading
always been
empire.
asking for.
So, how does this new system work? In the existing trade system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them. Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs. Once a price is set, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it on the trade website.
Wow.
Once a desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then, you can immediately purchase the item. And while there, if you
Wow.
want, browse their other goods, in case there's a good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered.
Wow.
You'll notice that as a buyer, on top of the currency the seller set for the price, it also costs gold to purchase an item.
It's so
As
good.
Ange has bills to pay after all. As a seller, you'll immediately receive a notification when an item of yours is sold, and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency. Just go talk to her, claim your currency, and continue playing at your leisure.
Oh my goodness.
As many people
It's
already
here.
acquired premium stash tabs for the purpose
The
of the trade
auction house
system,
is here.
we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs to merchants tabs, if you want. You can do that here, on the website, but only if you purchase those tabs before the release of the Third Edict. To clarify, the existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you. As we are not able to test
I don't
internally
really
with an
understand
entire
with the whole
thriving
stash
economy,
tab thing. Is
there
that
will certainly be some kinks to work out.
permanent?
Based on how the system goes, we will be adding it to Path of Exile 1 when ready, so any of the tabs you purchase will also be usable there later. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs. The Justice and Trust.
This all goes for POE1 too, right?
Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points,
This is
alongside
crazy.
several exclusive microtransactions. As always,
No druid?
the microtransactions in these packs are purely
No
cosmetic
sword?
and do not affect your character's
No
power
stealth
or
daggers?
progression in any way.
Come on!
The Justice series of supporter packs contains 6
Honestly though,
exclusive
all of this was such
microtransactions.
great news. I'm still super
Claim
excited to get
glory
in there
after
and give it a
defeating
try again.
enemies, or inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal.
That looks pretty.
The Sphinx Mystic hideout decoration will identify items for you, displaying them as it does so. This ancient creature has been presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality of your wares. Become a true warrior, worthy of delivering the justice of the eternal gods,
That looks really
with the
cool.
Apostle of Justice armor set. This armor set also comes with a matching back attachment containing a set of scales to measure your worth.
Wow.
With the Apostle of Justice finisher effect equipped, the Goddess of Justice herself will appear to decide on a verdict for slain unique enemies. Witness as she decides the fate of your slain foes. Will they ascend to be amongst the gods or be banished to the underworld? The Griffin fledgling pet will be
That's
a
pretty cool.
courageous companion as you journey throughout Rayclast. Take your place in the skies in the Plateau of the Gods hideout.
Ooh.
This hideout comes with many different sections for setting
Wow.
up your home or base of operations.
That is beautiful.
In order to travel between them, you simply just need to walk off the edge.
Wow.
Like a true eternal god, you can float between the mountains on the clouds themselves. The Trathan Executioner pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
That's gorgeous.
The Trathan Executioner finisher effect is a brutal display of Trathan might, crushing slain unique enemies as if they were bugs beneath your heel. As a Trathan Executioner, you're the perfect master for the ever-hungry carrion raptor pet. It has taken a particular liking to the taste of other pets, and at your command it will swoop down and eviscerate them, proceeding to satisfy its hunger by feeding on their corpse. The nobles of the four
It'll
major
eat other
Chaldan houses
people's
had their
pets.
mercenaries, but if their hired hands became notably irritating, they'd have to call in the Trathan executioners.
The Goblin Eater.
You can now embrace their methods and become brutality incarnate with the Cruel Trathan Executioner armor set. The matching Cruel Trathan Executioner cloak will shroud you in scarlet as you crush the skulls of your enemies and leave a trail of blood behind you as you build up a kill streak. Or use the alternate variant to simply put a skeleton on your back. Be bathed in blood as you mutilate monsters with the Cruel Trathan Executioner character effect.
I think a
The
bunch of people
swirling
are going to
blood
buy the Carrion
increases in
Raptor pet
volume
just
as
to
your
kill the Goblin
spree of
troop.
slaughter continues. Both this effect and the cloak use the same kill streak for tracking how much blood is shown. After a long and tiring day of executions, enjoy a relaxing game of dice with the Goblin Gambler's Hideout decoration. They'll definitely be playing fair, right? The Pulverizer map device brings a horrid efficiency to punishing the damned of Trathis. Each map you open will execute the next victims. This map device in its true ruthlessness tracks the total number of monsters killed, your kills per second, and your largest kill streak up to the point of the map being completed. This is then displayed on a leaderboard so you can take a measure of you and your friends' violence at the end of each map. Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. That's enough about cosmetics. Let's get into the Q&A. But firstly,
Very
I
cool.
want to give a huge thank you for
We
your
are
ongoing
absolutely
support.
going to be giving this season a try.
We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, or 4 PM Pacific, we'll post Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict's patch notes. With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments.
Thank you,
We're
Jonathan
looking
and
forward
Mark.
to seeing your experiences with Act 4 and its new bosses.
Thank you,
Fighting
GGG.
the Abyssal.
They've clearly
trying
been
new
hard at
builds,
work.
And crafting new items.
They've clearly been
We'll
cooking.
begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions
Let's
ready.
go. And you know what? What can we say, right? No druid yet. No flail. No stealth dagger gameplay to be spoken of. No grappler archetype mentioned. You know, some of them may be a shot in the dark, but no druid. Come on. I'm still holding hope for all of them.